Well, good morning, everybody. All right, so I know it's really early and it's really dark in my time, so I'm not sure what it is at the time that you're watching, but I've got some really interesting things I want to talk about. And I know it's been a hot minute since I posted my last video, so I apologize. All right, so why does your boss suck? I mean, I think that we can universally say that people in middle and sometimes upper management, you would find that upper management is actually a lot nicer than middle management. But why does your manager, your supervisor, your team lead, whatever you call the person that you report to, why do they suck so much as a human? I mean, they may have some good qualifications, but as a rule, your boss sucks. Why? Why is that the universal rule? Why can't we have nice people or human people in positions of leadership? And this extends, this isn't just like the company you work for. This is, again, it's universal. It's across the board. People in government, people at your job, people in an organization that you like, and I don't care which, politically speaking, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, they suck. Why? So let's talk about that. When I was in school studying psychology, which is what my degree is in, one of the things that I looked into was organizational leadership and the psychology behind the tests that you would have to take to get hired into a company. And I figured out how to manipulate the system because I kept getting these, people would send me these rejection letters back. I mean, constantly. I applied all over the board to companies, and I kept getting these things back. You're not exactly qualified for what we're looking for. I was overqualified as far as skill, but something about what they saw in those quote unquote personality tests they didn't like. As it turns out, okay, and this is a guy that went to school to be a psychologist, I am extremely passionate about helping people develop, helping people grow, listening to their needs, very, very empathetic. And that's not something that's going to make a company money. In fact, that's quite the opposite. They don't want someone that's empathetic and understanding of other people's emotions. And that's why your boss sucks. So I did an experiment, and I want you guys to do the same thing. If you are looking to get a better job, if you are looking to find a job where you can potentially maximize your earning potential at that job, what I want you to do is apply for that job. And when you come to the point where you're taking their entry exam, ask yourself, what would an asshole do in this situation? Not what would you do. Do not be honest unless you're an asshole. If you are in management, you're an asshole. And that's just given. If you drive a truck, you also probably can just answer these questions on these entry exams honestly. But for the rest of us, if you do not drive a truck and you are not in management, you need to think to yourself, what would an asshole do in this situation? What would that guy that drives a truck that thinks he owns the road and nobody else is important, what would he do? What would my boss do at that job that I absolutely hated life? Because that's what the employer is looking for. They're looking for people who have that grit, who lack the ability to emotionally or mentally connect with other human beings. Because when it comes time to following procedures without question, and you might get pushed in a sales position, you've got metrics you've got to meet, you have numbers you have to hit. Those metrics are made so that, as an analogy, if we were going to hire you to stand for 8 hours, just stand in one spot for 8 hours, the metric would be, okay, we want you to stand, but we want you to stand on your tiptoes for 8 hours. And you get 3 breaks, 2 15 minutes and a half hour. That's kind of the mentality of the employer. We know you can stand, but we want you to stand on your tiptoes. Most people are not going to be able to successfully do that, and it's really, really going to be difficult for you to maximize your ability at that job to stand on your tiptoes for 8 solid hours. Your manager, who can stand flat-footed and not have to stand on their tiptoes, in this analogy, don't care that it is extremely exhausting, that it is extremely difficult, and in some cases almost painful to achieve the goal of that job. You were hired in to stand up for 8 hours on your tiptoes, and you are not meeting these qualifications. Now, as an employer, I'm then going to say, I want you to hold a 10-pound weight in each hand while you're standing on your tiptoes, and I still expect you to stand on your tiptoes for 8 hours with no additional compensation. And your manager, who can comfortably sit, can then sit there and damn you for not being able to stand on your tiptoes, holding 20 pounds worth of weight, 10 pounds in each hand, on your tiptoes for that 8-hour time. And they lack the ability to empathize with you, they don't understand, and they don't care about you. You are a number, and that's how they're going to treat you. So that's why your boss is an asshole. It's because they aren't hired to care. They're hired not to care. They'll tell you that, oh, I care. It's their job. The reason that they were chosen, their qualification, is their inability to emotionally and mentally connect to other human beings in a meaningful way. So, when you are applying for those positions, what you want to do is think to yourself, if I hated the people that would be working underneath me, what would I do? And I guarantee what happened to me was I went from getting rejection letters to being inundated with job offers. And it's weird. It worked. I'm just saying, try it. Don't sit down and do a barrage of job applications. You've got to have the base qualifications. If you don't have some of the skills they're looking for, another thing that you want to do when you're filling out that application to prove that you have the skills is look at what their quote-unquote qualifications are. Just copy and paste that whole section out of that job posting and paste it word for word into your resume. That will put you at the front of the line when they go to hire people. A little HR trick there. And try it. See if you don't start getting those phone calls. Be an asshole when you are filling out that application. See what happens. All right, this has been Crazy Talk. Until next time, peace.